Welcome back to Under Oath. I have Kevin Sorbo here. Kevin, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Now, Kevin, I got to tell you, I've enjoyed your work for many years. I loved your work in syndication. I know we're not allowed to talk about too much of that stuff, but you opened up your own film company. What convinces you to take that risk on?
Well, I wanted to do movies that I kind of fell in love with as a kid. I mean, the reason I got into acting was watching these old Hollywood movies with my mom that had real character development. Look, I loved Hercules, but, none of us can be Hercules in real life. These action movies they have on the movies now, from Thor to, Avatar, whatever. I mean, it's all visual effects. They're fun to watch, but they're like a roller coaster ride. You walk out going, that was fun, but there's no character development. There's no real, human-like stories of redemption and faith and hope and love and laughter and stuff like that. Hollywood just keeps moving away from that. And that's kind of what I wanted to do my own thing. So Sorbo Studios was formed, and if I'm not doing my own movie through that, I'm having other independent productions come to me. I've been averaging about 4 movies a year over the last 15 years and, staying busy. And, they're small little indies, but they're great stories. And that's kind of the road I'm going to keep going on.
Now, it was interesting, between the 80s, the 90s, the action movies, everything else like that. I mean, do you think that took the heart out of a lot of movies?
Yeah, I mean, I got to give the writers credit for Hercules. I mean, by our third season 3, we actually became the most watched show in the world in 176 countries. And I think we were one of the first things that really kicked everything off in that action world, because they weren't doing anything. There's Superman back in the late 70s, early 80s and stuff, but there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, every movie Hollywood does now is a Marvel comic book or whatever movie. And I mean, it's over and over again. So I think, by season 3 of Hercules, when we became so successful, everybody tried to copy us. You had Beastmaster, you had Conan, you had Robin Hood, you had Tarzan, you had Sinbad, all these shows that were coming out trying to do the same formula we had. But that's how Hollywood does. They copy each other. But I remember Peter Jackson telling me, he said, your show really started it all, because Peter Jackson, I shot Hercules for 7 years in New Zealand. So he used to come on the set to see how the crew was developing. When we wrapped up season 7, he took 90% of my crew and put them to work on Lord of the Rings. So, they never had anything in that little country prior to Hercules in terms of production value. So they always put good values in it, though. Even though it was mythological, they always had very good morals and very good values in there, and teaching good lessons in life. Just being good is better than being evil. So just simple stuff like that. But Hollywood doesn't do that anymore, and I think that's why I started doing my own movies. I want to do movies that people can relate to the characters and say, yeah, I know somebody like that, or I'm like that, and maybe hopefully they learn something in a positive way.
Now, do you think it's difficult because when you do some faith-based movies, sometimes distribution is hard. Sometimes, finding a home for it is difficult. I think things are opening up now based on the success of some other movies, but I'm sure it was hard to kind of pave that road.
Well, it's kind of weird, because I've had very big success with What If, and God Not Dead was massive. I mean, a $2 million movie made $140 million. Soul Surfer, Let There Be Light, the last one that was in theaters that did the earliest, Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, based on the Left Behind books. This movie, Miracle in Texas, is based on a true story from 1930 about the largest oil fund in the history of the world. I mean, why Hollywood doesn't want to do those anymore is kind of weird to me. I look at every movie as a faith-based movie. I mean, if you're an atheist, that's still a faith. I mean, to believe in absolutely nothing is a pretty strong faith, really. And so I would call the movies I do family-friendly. I don't want to sit there and shove people down their throats saying, you better believe in God or you're going to hell. I mean, I'm a Christian myself, but I'm also, live and let live guy. I've got very good friends who are atheists or agnostics. I've got very good friends who are liberal that have opposite political points of view to me. We get along just fine. But we live in a world now where everybody's looking to be offended by something. And, I've always wondered who these cancel culture people are, because obviously they're living perfect, sinless lives. They're absolutely perfect, have nothing to be embarrassed about from their past. So they can go out and cancel other people. It's the weirdest world we live in right now, with hate and anger. So I just want to do movies out there that hopefully people from all sides of whatever fence they're on can come in and enjoy it. And that's certainly what Miracle in Texas is like.
I've discovered I'm a lawyer. I'm licensed in 18 states. I've studied the Constitution back and forth. And it always amazes me that the more freedom we have, the more likely we try to take away other people's.
It's weird. I mean, it's so bizarre to me that what we're doing right now, and these protests, these so-called peaceful protests, as people go through cities and bash businesses' windows and bash the people that own those places and throw and set cars on fire, including attacking police officers. I'm going, what is peaceful about this? And why are mayors and governors of these cities allowing this to happen? It's just, and all the people's going in and looting stores, and they're letting it do it. I mean, what is going on in our country? It's just bizarre to me. So I'm going to still keep fighting the good fight and try to put out movies that hopefully can unite people in some kind of way. Because obviously television and movies are very powerful mediums. And Walt Disney even said back in the 1950s that movies and television will influence our youth. Well, look what Disney's doing with their movies. So they're about to lose well over $1 billion. If I was a stockholder at Disney, I don't think I'd be very happy about what they're doing. So I don't quite understand what is happening in that world. It's just weird to me. So I just kind of went off my own and love the business, love doing what I'm doing, and I'm just going to keep on kind of trucking along, doing my own thing. And I get other independent people call me up all the time to do movies still. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed to keep on working in an industry that is easy to loathe, but at the same time, it's sort of a wicked drug is what it comes down to. So I love the creative process, and I love being on the set with all these creative people.
It's interesting. I had the opportunity to interview John Snyder a couple months ago, and he had that same issue that he wanted to make movies that mattered, and he had to create his own company to do that. And that seems an unbelievable direction to have to go in, the amount of effort you have to put in just to put these great stories together.
Yeah, I do movies in like the $3 to $4 million range. That's catering budget on these $300 million, Indiana Jones and Avatar movies. So, we just, it's frustrating because I look at the billions of dollars that just get moved around and sent around for the various things that you kind of go, wait a minute, why are we giving billions of dollars to countries that hate us? Can't they just hate us for free? Why can't we do something with it? I'm not looking for $1 billion. I'm looking for money that's going to hopefully be out there forever with a positive message. So you're not wrong. It's a tough road to follow, a tough road to do because most movies don't become successful. But it's like I said, I'm just hooked on it, and I love doing it, and I'm just going to keep doing the movies that I'm going to do.
Now, what always amazes me as an attorney, that when somebody gets hurt on a set or their injury caused by working on a set, and it's a long-term process that people aren't really taking care of as much as they should be. Now, I know you got hurt on the set of Hercules, and it affected you for years afterwards. What do you see as a possibility to make sure that actors are taken care of in these situations?
Well, it's part of my own ego. I enjoy doing my own stunts. I probably did 90% of them, but in the fight scene that you're referring to, I got hit in the back of the head with a sword, and it was the other actor's fault. And a lot of times I don't like fighting other actors because their egos get in the way. I'm pretty good at it. I'm a very athletic person. Played sports all my life as a football, basketball guy. And to me, I work very hard with my stunt guys every day, and occasionally get these actors that think they can do a good job. Well, I'm doing it day in and day out. I was doing 3 fight scenes every episode for 12 years between Hercules and Andromeda, my other series. So I trust the stunt guys around me. We rehearse a lot. We go through all the safety protocols, but in this case, this guy had his eyes closed as he hit me in the back of the head with a sword, and woke up in the hospital with concussion and 12 stitches. And thank God he hit me on the flat side of the sword. I think if he hit me on the blade side, even though they're very dull blades, they were real enough swords. They probably weighed about 20 pounds each. So he probably would have killed me.
Yeah, you never hurt the talent. That I can't even imagine what that set was like when it had to be shut down. They're going, are you coming back?
Yeah. I got rushed to the hospital, but thank God everything worked out okay.
When I think about, choices and how you choose to, because I also get to write comic books, and I always say, I want the next project to be my best project. And how difficult is it for you to choose between products? What is the one thing that you go, okay, this has to have this, or I'm not doing it?
It's hard to put the reason on it. It's just, I'll read 20 pages of a script that's sent my way. I won't look, I've already got enough scripts in my production company that I want to make. I'm trying to raise money for. I got my top 20 and that's what I'm looking for to raise money. So if people send another script to me and ask me to look at it, I won't look at them anymore. I tell people all the time, look, if this is funded, I'll read it. If this is a real offer, I'll read it. And if I like it, I'll do it. I will not look at new scripts. I just don't have the time. I don't need another startup from the ground product, So I give every script 20 pages. And for whatever reasons, maybe if I say no to something, maybe a month earlier, a month later, I would have said yes to it. I mean, who knows? It depends on my mood that day, I guess. It's a tough business on so many ways. I mean, no matter what side of the cam you're on. I mean, they call LA the city of angels. It's more the city of broken dreams. I got out of there 5 years ago. I live full time in Florida now. I've been here for 5 years and love it here. So I don't really miss the traffic and the craziness of California anymore. I prefer being out here, but it really depends. It depends if the character strikes me in a way. The storyline strikes me in the right way. I mean, there is no really rhyme or reason what turns me to a project or turns me away. It really depends, I think, on my mood that day.
It's interesting you brought up Florida. We actually are out of Orlando. And I always hear my friends from California, when they find out I'm from Florida, they think we come from a place where we're shooting everybody, where mothers are killing babies 24/7. And they don't realize, things are news here because they're unusual. It's not because it happens on a daily basis. I mean, what attracted you to Florida?
Well, my wife and I both have family out here. I got a brother in Palm Beach Gardens, and my wife's got a sister in Tampa. So we've been coming out for years, and have always liked it out here. We talked about moving here probably 15 years ago, and about 6-7 years ago we started getting real serious about it. So 5 years we just said, I'm done. Let's go. Well, why? I mean, I would say in the 83 movies I've shot, I would say 75 of them were in Texas or further east. Rarely anything shoots in California, because California's tax credit isn't as good as Georgia or Oklahoma or South Carolina, Louisiana. There's bigger tax credits out here. It's called show business after all. It's not show. So I was just ready to get out of there for a lot of reasons. California with the taxes and with traffic, and it's just crazy politics going on right now. I said, I'm done. I mean, look at California. 7 million people have left in the last 10 years.
It's
about
expensive.
3 million in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's expensive.
People are just leaving that state, and they wonder why, and they make their policies even worse, and then they talk about raising state tax above 13.5%. So I'm going, I think I could point out the problems too, but I can only think they're doing it on purpose. But for me, it just made business sense. It's made a lot more sense to get out this way. I mean, trust me, I loved where I lived in California. I was about 45 miles north of LA and about another 50 miles south of Santa Barbara. I was in an area called Westlake Village. It's beautiful. But I just got, every time I got in the car and get on the 101, I would just drive myself crazy, because it's, a 30-mile drive is going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours. that's 4 hours round trip for a 20-minute meeting. Just became not worth my time. So, I've been in the business long enough, so I really don't have to show up at meetings anymore. People come directly to me now and make offers that way. And so for me, it's just a much more relaxed way to go around things.
Now, you had mentioned earlier about, people and the way they get upset and they want to put their opinions in and everything else like that. And I always say that, we can blame social media for the pain that we incur on a 24-hour basis. And I guess what I'm trying to figure out is this. I learned a long time ago, people can keep hitting you with hammers on the internet, and there's nothing you could do. You could try to fight back, but it seems pointless. And I've seen you try to put stuff out there and say, listen, this is important, but you have to know you can't win online no matter what you do.
No. I mean, we live in a world now where people are just looking to be mad about something. They just want. It reminds me of this old movie with Marlon Brando called The Wild Ones, and he's this leather biker dude, and there's an old guy sitting on a rock chair in front of a little general store, and he looks at Marlon Brando and says, "What is it with you teenagers? What do you got to complain about?" And he goes, and Marlon goes, "What do you got?" So, and that's kind of where we're at right now, where these people, so many people are just giving up. I think they have one failure in their life, and then they want to blame the world, and the government, and their neighbors for their problems. And so all it does is breed more hate, more anger. And the internet is the Wild West. I mean, there's some great things about it, but I think the evil in it outweighs the good. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna keep plugging along. I don't care with these people, these haters out there. I mean, to sit there and follow me on Twitter and go after me, it cracks me up. I'm going, you have nothing better to do with your time and your day. I would never follow somebody. There's plenty of people I disagree with. I would never follow them just to attack them. So these people obviously don't have a job. They're probably collecting unemployment, and they've just given up on life. And it's your fault and my fault that their dreams didn't come true, when reality is they need to cue the Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror, and look in the mirror, because that's their problem, is themselves. Because these people, I'm quite sure if I did a documentary on them, you would find out they do not even like themselves at all. They probably hate who they are, hate their lives, and they just want to drag the world down in the little black hole that they live in. So I could care less. It doesn't affect me, and it doesn't affect me from posting the things I'm going to post. So I'm going to I post sarcastic truth on Twitter. They can go at K Sorbs, KSORBS, K Sorbs. Sorbs is my nickname from my buddies from many, many years ago in Minnesota. So I just post stuff that is truthful, but I definitely put a little jab in there because I'm one of 4 boys, and we're all pretty sarcastic with each other in a very loving way, of course.
Now, when I post something, I never know, and I try to avoid everything because I do a lot of radio work, and I have my own profession, and everyone always says the same thing to you. They go, "You got to be careful. You got to be careful," and it just seems the exact opposite of what this country is about. We're not about being careful as a country, but I think careful only applies to one side of the coin.
I mean, it's the media. It's the media. It's the television. It's the movies. All these things that combined together have made it a one-sided issue. And there should be able to be 2 sides. Why can't we hear the other side of climate change? There's plenty of scientists who totally believe it's bogus. Why can't we hear the other side from the right instead of the left dominating everything? Why can't we hear them? What's wrong with having an open debate instead of this being canceled? Yeah. Oh, you can't show up at that school because you said this. And I'm going, it's just so weird. I love how the fact they want to be the party of love, and they're actually the most angry party out there, filled with so much anger and violence. The whole term liberal, the definition used to be everybody's point of view is okay. We're for everything. I kind of laugh at the whole COVID thing when these people they're the ones saying you're killing grandma. You better take the 38 shots and wear 5 masks. And you're going, wait a minute, you're the party starting back in the 60s. The whole free love, oh, don't trust the man. Well, the man was the government. Now all of a sudden they're the party that trusts the government that wants total control of your life from cradle to grave and keeps taking away more and more of our freedoms. It's very strange to me. It's very strange that this we're at. And I think that's why I really enjoy the message of Miracle in East Texas is really, by the way, the movie opens this October 29th and 30th. The message in that movie is really, it's pro-patriot. It's pro-America. It's pro, redemption, pro-hope. Because we've taken, I think a lot of people, there's so much anger, have just lost all hope in their lives. So I hope people go to sorbostudios.com. Great place to go, sorbostudios.com. You can sign up right there, put your zip code in there. It brings you right to the theater. The movie comes out this weekend, and it's a wonderful true story. It's won 10 film festivals, everything from best comedy to judge's favorite, audience favorite. And it's about 2 con men that went through Oklahoma and Texas, wooing widows out of their money on fake oil wells. True story, right in the heart of the Depression, 1930. They strike oil in Kilgore, Texas, largest oil find in the history of the world. So the miracle is that the oil was found, but the other miracles that happen afterwards you really have a more meaning for the title Miracle in East Texas. And it's a wonderful PG-rated family movie that people can go and check out. And we're hoping to fill up those seats because with independent movies, we don't have the big $100 million advertising budget like they do for Pirates of the Caribbean. So we got to rely on word of mouth to get good movies out there. But people stop me all the time at airports. Say, I love what you're doing. Please make more movies like God's Not Dead and What If and Soul Surfer. And I go, I'm making them, man. You got to support them. It's out there, but you got to help find them as well.
Well, I can't wait to see the movie, and I can't thank you enough for being on. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.